The bitter wind howled outside Axel Grinch's cave, swirling frost against the jagged stone entrance. Inside, the fire crackled low, casting long, flickering shadows across the rough-hewn walls. The scent of burnt marshmallows, accidentally charred in frustration, lingered in the air. Outside, the twinkling lights of Hoovel mocked him, their cheery glow seeping through the cracks of his heavy wooden door like an unwelcome guest. Axel slumped in his worn-out armchair, draped in a tattered green scarf, glaring at the ceiling. The distant sound of carolers reached his ears, and he groaned, stuffing his fingers into them. Jingle this, jingle that, he muttered, rolling his eyes. Why can't they just let December be miserable in peace? A snowflake drifted through a drafty crack, landing on his nose. He flicked it off with a scowl. Perfect. Even the snow's against me. He sighed, sinking deeper into his chair, counting the seconds until the clock struck midnight, when Christmas would finally be over. Just a few more hours of torture. Axel froze mid-scowl at the sudden knock. His ears twitched in irritation. Who in their right mind would bother him tonight of all nights? Go away, he growled, not even bothering to get up. Unless you're here to tell me Christmas has been cancelled, I'm not interested. Another knock, louder this time. Persistent. Annoying. Axel groaned, stomping toward the door. He yanked it open with a sharp creak. Oh joy, he deadpanned, leaning against the doorframe with crossed arms. Santa's little helper. What? Did you get lost on your way to spread cheer or something? A gust of wind blew snowflakes into his face. He exhaled sharply, sending a puff of frosty breath into the air. Speak fast. My patience is thinner than the last strand of tinsel I shredded. An incredulous laugh erupted from Axel's chest. Well, congrats, you found him, he said, sarcastically. He raised an eyebrow, his eyes narrowing in suspicion. Now, tell me, what business does Santa's little elf have with the Grinch on Christmas Eve? Axel's smirk instantly vanished. His grip tightened on the doorframe, knuckles whitening. He scoffed, shaking his head like he'd misheard. Oh, this is Rich. You want to talk to him? The guy who actually ruined Christmas? The guy who abandoned his kid in Hoovel? He stepped aside with a sharp, exaggerated gesture. Be my guest. He's buried 6 feet under cynicism and bad life choices. Knock yourself out digging. His tone dripped with bitterness. Or are you here to lecture me about forgiveness and holiday miracles next? Axel grabbed you by the arm, yanking you into the cave. The door slammed shut behind you, cutting off the cold wind and swirling snowflakes. He leaned against the door, crossing his arms once more. You really have no idea about the mess that is my family, do you? He snorted, glancing outside as if hoping you'd leave. When you didn't, he continued. Sit. We might as well get comfortable while I recount the tragedy of the Grinch lineage. Axel rolled his eyes, shaking his head. He pushed off the door, striding toward the meager fire. Oh, please. Your precious father is probably too busy delivering Christmas presents to notice you're gone. Isn't that his job? Crossing the entire world in one night? He gestured toward an armchair that looked older than Hoovel itself, urging you to sit. Sit, he repeated sarcastically, and be prepared for a tale of woe. Axel smirked, tossing a ratty-looking blanket at you, green obviously, before slouching into his own chair. Wow, look at that. A Claus who actually listens. Miracles do happen. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees, the firelight flickering in his sharp green eyes. So, you want to know about dear old Dad? Fine. But don't come crying to me when your precious holiday spirit gets stomped into oblivion. He pointed accusingly toward the ceiling. See that hole? That's from when he literally dropped me here as a kid. Said Hoovel needed a real Grinch. His voice dripped with bitterness. Merry freaking Christmas, huh? Axel noticed your silence, your red nose twitching as you glared at the fire instead of him. He huffed, tossing another log onto the flames, more aggressively than necessary. sending sparks flying. Don't give me that look. You asked about him. He muttered something under his breath about nosy clauses before suddenly pausing, squinting at you. Wait, why were you looking for him anyway? His grin turned sharp, suspicious. Don't tell me Santa's sending you to do his dirty work now. What, he wants a rematch after last year's sleigh sabotage? He cackled, kicking his feet up on a nearby crate. Good luck. Even ghosts avoid that guy. Axel's laugh died immediately. He shot you an incredulous look, as if the question offended him personally. Kill him? Me? He scoffed, looking almost insulted at the suggestion. Oh, please. Why would I waste my time on someone so... He paused, searching for a fitting word. Beneath me. No. He shook his head, sitting up straighter. As much as the idea had crossed my mind, I've been too busy ruining holidays to bother with something that tedious. Axel leaned back, twirling a finger lazily in the air. Ah, yes, the million-dollar question. His smirk was razor-thin. Where is the infamous Grinch? He gestured vaguely toward the fireplace. Some say he's sulking in a cave 10 times bigger than this one. Others swear they saw him get trampled by reindeer in a botched cookie heist. A shrug. Frankly, I stopped caring years ago. Then he leaned in, voice dropping to a mock whisper. But between you and me, rumor has it he did try to steal Christmas one last time and ended up trapped in his own toy sack somewhere near the North Pole. A wicked grin. Poetic, isn't it? Axel's grin vanished. He stood abruptly, knocking over a half-empty mug of cold cocoa in the process. It splattered across the floor like ink. A heart? He practically spat the word. Funny. He didn't seem to care much about his when he left me here to rot. He kicked the fallen mug aside, pacing in front of the fire like a caged animal. You clauses, always preaching about love and family. A bitter laugh. Tell me, how many Christmases did your dad miss, huh? Or was he too busy playing hero to notice? He stopped, glaring at you with something almost like betrayal. Don't talk to me about hearts. Mine's 3 sizes too small, thanks to him. Oh, great. Now I've gone and made Santa's kid mopey. He folded his arms, looking anywhere but at you. A beat of silence. Then, grudgingly, and for the record, your dad actually likes you, so there's that. He muttered something under his breath about stupid emotions. Look, if you're gonna sit there all sad, at least drink something. Axel rolled his eyes so hard it looked painful, stomping over to a crooked cabinet. He yanked out a chipped mug, this one with a faint candy cane design that had clearly survived better days, and grabbed a dented kettle off the fire, pouring steaming cocoa with all the grace of someone who deeply regretted their choices. He grumbled, shoving the mug into your hands. Drink. Before you freeze solid and I have to explain to your dad why his precious little snowflake turned into an icicle in my cave. He flopped back into his chair, aggressively avoiding eye contact, muttering, "Stupid holiday guilt, stupid cold, stupid nice gestures." The fire crackled. Outside, a distant chorus of joy to the world drifted through the wind. Axel visibly cringed. Axel side-eyed you, then dramatically clutched his chest with exaggerated offense. Oh wow, really? You think I, the guy who hates Christmas more than fruitcake, would waste perfectly good cocoa on murder? He snatched the mug back and took a huge, defiant gulp, wiping his mouth with the back of his hand. See? Not dead. He shoved it back toward you, scowling. Though if you don't drink it soon, I will reconsider that policy. A distant ho-ho-ho echoed outside. Axel's eye twitched. And if you tell anyone I gave you cocoa, I'll deny it violently. Axel watched you, arms crossed, as the first hesitant sips of cocoa passed your lips. He fidgeted with the edge of his scarf, pretending it was not because he was secretly curious about your reaction. Well, how was it? Still alive? Axel blinked, caught off guard by your, gratefulness. He recovered quickly, clearing his throat and crossing his arms tighter. Yeah, cinnamon, obviously. His gaze flicked between you and the empty mug. He couldn't decide if he was annoyed, confused, or both. Glad to know my cocoa's passable, at least, he grumbled, reluctantly. Consider it a one-time holiday not-killing gift from me. Ugh. Axel rolled his eyes, slumping into his chair like a pouting child. It's official. You're as annoyingly chipper as your dad. He grumbled, scowling at the ceiling as if Christmas itself had wronged him. Merry humbug. Or whatever. Don't get used to this, alright? I still completely despise everything about this season. Got it? Outside carolers' voices grew louder, more cheerful. Axel bristled. Axel stiffened. His eyes flashed with anger, not at you, but at the mere mention of his dad. I'm nothing like him, he said, the words almost a challenge. He's the guy who abandoned his kid because he was too busy spreading holiday cheer. He made air quotes around the last part. I'm the guy who got left behind to pick up the pieces he shattered. Trust me, we're nothing alike. Hey! Axel looked almost outraged, shooting you a glare that would have made most people shrink 10 sizes smaller on the spot. I am not grumpy, I'm festively skeptical. There's a difference. I'm just realistic about the true nature of Christmas. Pointless, stressful, and a waste of time and resources. His eye twitched at the sound of more carolers outside. And loud. Extremely loud. Axel followed your gaze around the cluttered cave, scoffing at the mess. Yeah, it's just me and Ruby. She's probably passed out somewhere. He gestured vaguely toward the back of the cave, where a worn-looking dog bed lay in the corner. And before you ask, she's not festive either. Dislikes Christmas as much as I do. He paused, his expression darkening. It's always been like this. Just me, Ruby, and... He sighed, the ghosts of bad memories. Axel's gaze shifted to his hands, his eyes distant, haunted by old, painful memories. Sometimes I wonder if things would have been different if I'd been more like him. If I'd been Grinchier. His voice dropped, almost a whisper. Maybe then he would have stayed. Maybe he would have wanted me. He closed his eyes, sighing deeply. Instead, I'm stuck being the misfit who doesn't quite fit in with either side, and always ends up alone on Christmas. Axel opened his eyes, reluctantly meeting your gaze. Yes, thanks for pointing that out, he said bitterly. Trust me, I'm painfully aware of my physical resemblance to the Who's. The nose, the skin, the eyes. It's like the universe decided to play a cruel joke on me, giving me the visage of the very people I hate the most. It's like a constant reminder of what I could have been, but never will be. He scowled. Hooray for irony. Axel ran a hand through his already messy hair, making it stick out in wild directions. He chuckled derisively. Oh sure, the one thing I got from my dad? The one physical trait he was gracious enough to pass down? It's his damn green hair. 'Cause why not? He rolled his eyes, scoffing. As if my life wasn't awkward enough, I also got the grinchiest hair color known to man. Thanks, Dad. You really outdid yourself. Axel froze mid-eye roll, blinking at you like you'd just sprouted candy cane antlers. Cool, he repeated, flatly. Cool? His scowl deepened, but there was a flicker of something in his expression, maybe confusion, maybe reluctant amusement. First of all, you're delusional. Second of all, he paused, glancing away with a huff. Whatever. Drink your cocoa before I change my mind and take it back. Ruby, from her corner, let out a sleepy snore. Axel pointed at her accusingly. See? Even she thinks you're ridiculous. Axel yawned, stretching with all the grace of a cranky porcupine. He glanced at you from under his lashes, feigning annoyance but clearly getting sleepy himself. Hurry it up already, he grumbled. You've worn out your welcome. I'm not used to having visitors, let alone ones who stick around long enough to bore me into a coma. He gestured at the entrance, a mix of impatience and reluctance in his gaze. Go on. Shoo. Before I start charging you rent. Axel crossed his arms, trying, and failing, to maintain his grumpy facade. It was getting harder to hide the faintest hint of amusement in his voice. He huffed, glancing away. Glad you find me so entertaining, he deadpanned. But I mean it. Time to skedaddle before I set Ruby on you. And trust me, her breath is worse than her bark. The dog in question raised her head and gave a sleepy woof for emphasis. Axel groaned, watching Ruby trot over and shamelessly lean into your pets like she'd completely forgotten her allegiance. Unbelievable, he muttered. Even my own dog is betraying me for Christmas cheer now. Ruby wagged her tail happily, licking your hand as Axel scowled, but there was no real bite to it. He hesitated, then mumbled under his breath. She's only nice because she thinks you have treats. A pause. Do you? Ruby's ears perked up immediately at the mention of reindeer snacks. She practically lunged towards you, her tail wagging a mile a minute as you produced the reindeer treats. Axel watched with a mix of disbelief, annoyance, and grudging envy as his usually aloof dog completely transformed into a fluffy, tail-wagging ball of joy. He sighed. Figures, he muttered. The one time she betrays me is for candy and a pretty smile. Typical. Axel hesitated, his grumpy exterior briefly wavering as you stood up. He coughed, clearing his throat as if to make his words seem less reluctant than they actually were. Yeah. You should. It's late, and he paused, glancing at Ruby, who was still happily enjoying her treat. Then, in a quieter voice, and not to get into any trouble, will ya? The world doesn't need more chaos. He crossed his arms, scowl returning, especially Christmas-related chaos. Axel raised an eyebrow, his scowl fading somewhat as he noted your Grinch-like expression. Oh, look at you, he drawled sarcastically, trying to impersonate a true misanthrope like me. Adorable. He rolled his eyes, but there was a touch of amusement in his voice. Alright, if you're gonna be a Grinch, do it properly. No being cheerful, no singing carols. He paused, eyeing you, and especially no presents. Axel nodded approvingly at your grumpy stance. Good. Just remember, the goal is to be as grouchy as possible. No sudden bouts of merry. He glanced down at Ruby, who had finished her treats and was now trotting back to her bed, and absolutely no singing Joy to the World or whatever that cheery crap is called. He scowled. Understood? Axel's eyebrows shot up in surprise as you abruptly hugged him. He tensed, caught off guard by the sudden physical contact. Before he could even react, you were already pulling away. A moment passed, where he just stared, bewildered. Then he grumbled under his breath, quickly regaining his grumpy composure. Now go on. Scram, before I get any nicer. Axel hesitated, watching you go. He opened his mouth like he was going to scoff, but then, just before you disappeared, he muttered something so quiet it was almost lost in the crackle of the fire. Maybe. Ruby wagged her tail lazily from her bed. Axel shot her a glare. Not a word, Ruby. Outside, snow continued to fall as Wovel slept, unaware that somewhere in the mountains the Grinch sun stood at his cave entrance, watching the path you took long after you were gone.